I think Xbox did shock fans last night with the Game Awards. And what was so shocking to me is that we really didn't get any huge announcements. I thought for sure we would get one more peek at something we've all been waiting for, like a Fable, for instance, or maybe a new IP from Xbox revealed at the Game Awards. However, leading up to the Game Awards, we did start hearing rumors like, hey, temper your expectations. They're saving a lot of their biggest stuff, a lot of their new stuff for their own show for early next year. And it makes sense. I think Sony's probably doing the same thing based on what we saw last night. I think Nintendo's probably doing the same thing. And it shows you what's so hard about the Game Awards, what's so hard about running it. And I do want to give major props to the Game Awards. I think it is important to have the biggest awards of the year, like to have one stand out instead of a lot of little awards that kind of become meaningless and we don't really know what they mean or what they stand for. I do think having one central award that is viewed as the biggest one, and that is the award show, is good for gaming overall. I think that it could be worked on, of course. I think that it could be improved. I've talked about that in the past. I think that the format is a little bit flawed, but I think overall they do a good job. Now, one of the biggest controversies of the evening was the Game of the Year thing. I think in a lot of people's minds, they had either Wukong winning or Metaphor ReFantazio, and what ended up winning was Astrobot. And I cannot say whether or not that deserves it. I have not played Astrobot. From people who I know have played Astrobot, they all agree that it's a good game. But they all unanimously, these are people from around the world, people that I work with, family, people that play PlayStation exclusively. They all agree that while it's a good game, it definitely wasn't on the same level as those two. That's neither here nor there for me. Congratulations to Astrobot. But there definitely is some controversy there. So in today's video, I want to go over what we did get to see from the Game Awards. I want to talk about it. I want to talk about some of the game announcements here. Really the biggest one for Xbox, in my opinion, is Outer Worlds 2 here. Having said that, it's not like it's super huge. We know Outer Worlds. We know it enough. There's nothing surprising that's coming here. They nail the personality. They nail what the atmosphere of Outer Worlds 2 is. It's bigger. It's grander, it's better, it's Outer Worlds 2, it's the sequel to Outer Worlds. So, but we all have that to look forward to. I think what did surprise me was that we didn't get anything extra. We didn't get like a Fable, for instance. We didn't get like new Gears information or gameplay or anything like that. And I was fully expecting to get something. I even thought like, okay, we're going to learn about Grand Theft Auto 6 here. We're going to get a solidified date and maybe some more gameplay and a demo and stuff like that. I do think it is interesting that, I mean, I guess Naughty Dog for PlayStation had a pretty big reveal, but other than that, it's not like these big publishers came out and showed off anything really unexpected. And I think that shows you the direction that we're going to. Everybody's going to run their own digital events, and those digital events are where they can control the narrative. It's where they can focus you on what they want to focus, and they can own that moment in time. They're not competing with any other noise. And if you think about it, it makes sense. And Outer Worlds 2 is kind of perfect to drop during the Game Awards because it introduces maybe new people. It's not the biggest title in the world. It's not the biggest game, so it might introduce new people to the game who may not have been aware of it, but not get overshadowed by anything else at the Game Awards. And that's why I think an Xbox, a PlayStation, a Nintendo, other big publishers like a Rockstar aren't showing off their whole deck of hands, right? They're not showing off some of their biggest projects at the Game Awards because it's too easy to get overshadowed by other controversies. Maybe someone gets up on stage and says something, and then you lose momentum on what was shown off. That's why you want to own it. So that's on the Xbox side of stuff. I do want to show off some of the games and go over what stood out to me the most last night. Obviously for Xbox, it was Outer Worlds 2. It's coming to Game Pass. We know how that works. But a few games really stood out to me, and I'm actually going to pull them up here. Let's see, which one did I had pulled up first? Here is Mafia The Old Country. Mafia The Old Country, I think, looks freaking cool. And I am very excited about this. I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm excited for a few reasons. I just want to see the view count. It has 500,000 views. I think it deserves more. The Mafia series we got on Game Pass, Mafia Remixed, the Mafia Remastered over on Xbox this year. And so I had a chance to go play both Mafia 1 and Mafia 2. Very much enjoyed them. Very much liked what they did with those games. I understand the hype behind them. And Mafia Old Country here, The Old Country, is a game to get excited for. They're making some changes here, and this is what stood out to me. This is set in 1900 Sicily. It's launching in summer of 2025. I think you get this really interesting world. Again, the best part of Mafia is the story. It's being a Mafia member. It's the linear storytelling. And it looks like that's what they're returning to. They're getting away from the open world. They're not so much focused on it. Some of the developers have come out since this trailer dropped last night and have said and have clarified, we're focused on linear storytelling here. I think that's the best way to do it for Mafia. I think very few games, if I'm being honest, do open world well. I think we're all open world out. We have limited time. I would rather have a very tight, very controlled, set-pieced, handcrafted game than I would an open world to explore at this point in my life. It's just the reality. Now, if you can nail an open world and you could do it right, then of course that's going to be amazing. But I only have so much time in my life, so much space for open world games, for gaming in general. I want a handcrafted linear experience that just blows me away. I think it's why I enjoyed it. When you look back at this year, the games that I enjoyed the most, Indiana Jones, not the most, but the games that I finished. Indiana Jones, just recently played. Fantastic game. Linear, handcrafted. Yes, it has open level sequences, but it's very linear. It's very controlled. It's very dynamic in its set pieces, handcrafted, detailed. It's the premium way to enjoy the game. Same with Hellblade 2. Amazing level design, set pieces, controlled. And I think that's the way to go for most games out there. I am glad that Mafia, the old world, is going that direction and very, very excited for it, of course. The other game that came up last night that I want to go over, and you're going to see it here on screen as well, is Elden Ring Nightreign. This was revealed. We didn't know this was even a thing. At least I didn't. And seeing this last night got me excited. Now, there was a discussion. I had a discussion this morning with my brother on this game, and he's concerned. He's a big Elden Ring fan. Played through the entire DLC, beat it. Played through the entire main campaign, beat it. Excuse me. He's worried because this is Bandai Namco and From Software, and he's worried that they're taking it and doing too much with it, and that would take away from what makes the Souls series and Souls games so special. And I actually think the opposite. To me, how this trailer comes across is you're stripping away some of the tediousness and you're getting to what makes Elden Ring, at least you're getting to focus on the best part of Elden Ring. Now, what is the best part of Elden Ring, you may ask? The best part of Elden Ring, in my mind, is the fighting. It's the battles. That's it. It's not the open world exploration. While that's good, it's not the RPG systems. Every game on the planet in 2024 has an RPG system, has a crafting system, has these things that I have to jump in and I have to learn to do, and I have to go through and do my research, and I got to figure out, where do I put these currencies that I'm earning in the game to min-max my character, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It gets tedious. It really does. And I think stripping all of that away, or stripping it down and minimizing it, which I think is the point of this game, this is a co-op experience, and focusing on what makes your game, the aspect of your game that makes it the best, and that is this right here, the boss battles, the fighting, the difficulty of the fighting, the mechanics in each of the fights, stripping it down, or stripping it, instead of stripping it all the way, maybe you're not getting rid of it all the way, but stripping it down to simplify it, to focus on what makes your game special, is a win in my mind. Now, full disclosure, I don't know that that's what this game is necessarily. I'm just giving you my impressions from what I garnered from the trailer and the discussion surrounding it. That's what it seems like to me in this co-op experience. You're going in with your friends and focusing on these bad guys. The reason I hesitate with an Elden Ring, the reason, for instance, I've not jumped in and beat a Witcher 3, and I've not taken the time to jump into what I hear is an amazing Cyberpunk 2077, or rather gone back and finished it, is once again, the idea, the time suck, the time that it takes to learn these systems, to do a deep dive into the game, to fully wrap your head around all the crafting and the RPG elements and the world exploration, and making sure you get everything in each of the areas to have the best experience and do X, Y, and Z. It is overwhelming and it's tedious. And again, I have limited time. If Nightreign is Elden Ring stripped down to co-op fighting. I think it's genius, and I think it's a win, and I think it could be a big project and a big way to do things going forward. And I think it could be an example for a lot of games going forward. Focus on what makes your game special. Strip everything else away. Or if you're not away, tailor it down. Anyways, that's just my impression there. I could be incredibly wrong. I would like to know what you guys think on that, though. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments below for that one. We're going to finish what was, for me, a trailer of the show last night, and that is, of course, Witcher 4, of course. Surprise, surprise, it's Witcher 4. You guys just heard me talk about, I never finished Witcher 3. I restarted that game, and each time I made it like 15 hours in, and then something else caught my attention, and I've never gone back and finished it. I enjoy it. I enjoy the lore. I read all the books. I went through and I didn't read them. I listened to them on tape. I've obviously watched the TV series, so I'm highly invested in the lore here. There is some controversy around this game in that you're not Geralt you're not Geralt, you are Ciri here. And some people were saying, and rightfully so, the Ciri levels in Witcher 3 were not the best. That was kind of like these side quests that you had to do. Where's Geralt? And that's not incorrect. Those were not the best. I did play those parts, and they're right, that wasn't the best part. But this is not Ciri the girl. This is Ciri the Witcher that we're playing. And I think that you could input any name. You could have Bob the Witcher or Bill, Frank down from Home Depot, but he's a Witcher, which, by the way, would be badass. Like, bring the Witcher into modern day time. Bob from Home Depot is the Witcher. How awesome would that be? But they're Witchers. They are Witchers. So you could insert anyone in that, any name, any character as a Witcher, and it would be a blast to play because the core gameplay doesn't change. What changes maybe is the dynamics with the story and who you interact with and how you interact. But Ciri's a badass character anyway, so I'm not concerned about that at all. The TV show, the Netflix series, very much focuses on Ciri. Cyberpunk 2077 has references to Ciri. So CD Projekt Red going all in on Ciri, I have zero problem with, and I'm actually excited to play and experience here. So it's going to be interesting to play as Ciri as the protagonist and see how that story develops going forward. Now, the problem is, if this game does not hit, there's a high bar to hit here. It was the problem with Cyberpunk 2077. They had set such a high bar for themselves. The hype was so huge that the slightest problems, and granted, they weren't slight problems at launch. Cyberpunk 2077 had some major problems at launch, but they never got over that bar, and I think it permanently hurts the legacy of that game and that title. If you do that here, if you don't match Witcher 3, which is a high bar, you're gonna have the critics coming out and saying, "Yep, told you, we need Geralt. There is no Witcher without Geralt." That may be the case. It may be the case that ends up happening. I'm not sure that that's the case. Like I said, I think the Witcher is the Witcher. Geralt is a great character, but you could really insert any character that's well acted and developed, and your gameplay is not going to change because a Witcher is a Witcher is a Witcher. Period. So, granted, he was the greatest Witcher. So in that respect, but anyways, that's just my thoughts, my opinions. I like this trailer. This was trailer of the night for me. Would love to know what you guys thought of the Game Awards. Would love to know if you think Astrobot winning is accurate, not accurate. Do you think that the Game Awards are valuable for gaming? I do. I do think that they're valuable for gaming. I think that there's some tweaks that could happen and go along the way here. I've mentioned them in past videos. I do think what's most interesting as an observation here is that the biggest reveals from first-party studios across the board did not happen at the Game Awards. I think it shows the shift in where we're going, the direct-to-consumer accessibility that Microsoft has, that Xbox has, that PlayStation has, that Nintendo has, that publishers have, in that you kind of don't need the game. I would say the Game Awards need the trailers more than the trailers need the Game Awards. And the reason is, like I said before, you want to control that hype. I don't want to drop the next Fable trailer and then have someone get up on stage at the Game Awards and say something crazy that then becomes the news story, and my trailer doesn't get the hype that it otherwise would have. And so you're going to control it. You're going to own it. You're going to control the press via your own digital event in January or February. I think that's just the reality of where we're at. It makes total sense to me. That does us for today, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in and hanging out again. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel. My name is X1 the Gamer. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.